WLAN Network Configuration. Objective: upon completion of this course, you'll be able to understand the WLAN configuration roadmap of Huawei WLAN network. Master the basic WLAN configuration command. So basically, this is using the CLI and do some configuration. Okay, the roadmap. So first, you have to understand how many VLAN you have to configure. So this one will be the first step we have to do. What is the management VLAN you want to assign? The service VLAN? And what kind of the forwarding mode that you choose to configure? Is it the tunnel forwarding or the direct forwarding? So right now, giving the example is using the direct forwarding. And the service VLAN, we have Huawei number 1 and Huawei 2. Both of them using the VLAN 101 and 102. And this one is the data plan. The DHCP server. The AC function as the DHCP server for the AP and the SDA. So that means they're going to make the control here become the DHCP server. IP address pool for the AP. So the AP only can using the range start from 10.1.100.2 and end up with .254. For the SDA have two different service VLAN. Okay, because we have one SSID is called Huawei 1 and the other is a Huawei 2. So the 101, this is a range, and this is 102. The AC source interface, they're going to select this 10.1.100.1. Okay, the VLAN 100 become the source interface. So right now my AC, right, we're using the VLAN 100 to associate with all the AP group. So of course the name, you can using any name. But right now it requires us to configure the AP group number 1. For the profile, we can using Huawei 1. Okay, same to the regulatory domain. Okay, use domain number 1. Okay, this is a profile. The profile using domain number 1 and the country code. The country code can be follow your own country code, and this is very important. So based on which location that you currently located. SSID. Right now they have two different SSID we have to create. Huawei 1, Huawei 2. For the security, right now they don't do any authentication. Okay, so it's using the WEP, Open System Authentication. So mean we just click on the SSID, then you can get connected already. Okay, the VIP profile. So we have two different profiles here. Huawei number 1 using the direct forwarding. So Huawei number 1 belongs to the service VLAN 101. The SSD profile, Huawei number 1, and the security is number 1. Okay, same to the Huawei 2. So let's begin here. Before we touch on the controller, the first thing is you need to understand how to configure the access port and also the trunk port. Okay, right now I have these two ports, port number 1 and port number 2, which is connected to our AP. So port number 1 and port number 2. So in the Huawei CLI, you need to use this command, port link type trunk. Okay, to change the port become the trunk port. And then you have to put the PVID. Or we can call this is a native VLAN. So right now I change the trunk link. The native VLAN, the PVID become 100 for both. Okay, interface number 1 and number 2. Because I want make sure my AP1, 2 and also my controller all belong to the same VLAN 100. And the last one, I'm going to allow the VLAN to pass through, include the VLAN 100 and 101. On the AP number 2, I only allow 100 and 102. So that means these two AP, right, they provided the two different type of the SSID services, and they have no roaming at all. Okay, so the AP number 1 only provided the SSID Huawei number 1. Port number 2 only provided the SSID Huawei 2. And then interface number 3, configure trunk link and allow pass all the VLAN. Okay, VLAN 100, 101 to 102. Then the next one, the access switch already done the configuration. Then the next one, you have to go to the system view. Okay, sorry, this is the switch at the middle, or we can call this is the aggregation switch. So remember to enable the WLAN first, or else they can't able to configure that. So go to your interface 2 and interface number 3. Configure as a trunk link. Okay, and allow all the WLAN to pass through. So this pretty simple. Okay, now after we done all the access switch, aggregation switch configuration, we can enter into the controller here and set up. So the controller here, same, you have to enable the WLAN 100.102. Right now my controller here only have one interface connected to the aggregation switch. So I configure here as a trunk and allow the WLAN 100.102. Okay, this is just a beginning, okay, for the layer 2 communication. So now this is a route map. With this route map, can easy for you to start the configuration. You know where you have to start the first. Step number 1, try to create the AP group. Step number 2, configure the AP go online. How to make the AP go online? There's a few ways to do that. First, configure your DHCP server. This one you depend. Are you going to make your controller become the DHCP? If yes, then you have to configure on your controller. Okay, configure the regulatory domain profile. Country code. Bind the regulatory domain profile to the AP group. Okay, that means after we create the AP group, and also the regulatory, the domain, this one you're going to bind into this group. Okay, we have to do this one later on. Configure the AC source interface. So you have to inform the AC controller which interface you're going to associate with all the AP, and what is the authentication for the AP. Okay, and the last step, configure WLAN service parameter. Now you can start to touch on the SSID. So this SSID is belong to what WLAN, and is it this SSID required to perform any authentication? So you have to configure from there. And last, bind to the VIP profile to the AP group. So everything done already, you still have to bind to the AP group. Okay, now to show you again the topology in case that you forget. So this topology is in the layer 2 connection in the bypass mode. So the first step, WLAN configuration. Enter to the system view. Input the command WLAN. And then using a command AP-group name. So right here you can give any name. And then using a command quit to return back to your WLAN view. We just need to create a group at the beginning. Now we enter into the step number 2. So now we have to configure the DHCP because we want to enable the DHCP server on the controller. So this is the place you have to go. Return back to the system view. Use DHCP enable. So I want to make my controller become the server. Now I go to my interface WLAN 100, assign the IP address, and then put DHCP select interface. Okay, then follow the same way on the interface WLAN 101 and also the 102. Okay, now we already configured the DHCP and also the IP address on all the interface. Now try to return back to the WLAN view. Remember how to returning to the WLAN. Okay, from a system view we type WLAN. Okay, from here put the command regulatory domain profile. Only at the beginning, the first time you're entering this profile, you have to give the name. Okay, on these places, put your own country code. Okay, remember what is a country code. Next, use the quit command, return back to your WLAN view. Now, we go back to the previous AP group that we configure. AP-group, name AP group number 1. So if this is the name you configured just now, okay, now you have to buy the profile just now you configure. Just now we configure this profile, if you still remember. Sorry. Okay, it's called domain number 1. So this domain number 1, we have to buy into the AP group. Okay, bind the regulatory domain profile to the AP group. Okay, so this is a step we have to do. Then once you press enter, it will come out this warning. Modifying the country code will create the channel, power level, and the antenna gain configuration of the radio and reset the AP. Are you sure you want to continue? You just choose the yes. Okay, then quit. Okay, now we already processed all the steps here. Then the next one is configure the AC source interface. So now you have to returning back to the system view. So you go to the CAPWAP. Okay, this is a system view using command CAPWAP space source space. Depend which interface you want to use to associate with the AP. Okay, now I'm choosing interface WLAN if, stand for WLAN interface 100. Enter. Then the next one, configure the AP authentication mode. By default, the Huawei AP authentication is select the MAC address authentication. So you have to go to your AP and check what's the MAC address that you're using. So from here, you just put AP space authentication space MAC authentication. So Huawei allow us to using MAC authentication, no authentication, or the serial number authentication. So you can choose which one that you prefer most. Okay, you can either using a serial number or the MAC address to register. So right here they show you the example is using the MAC address. So remember what's the format can be used. Okay, they're using this format. Okay, AP MAC address. Input your MAC address and then give the ID for your AP. So if this is my first AP, I put AP ID number 0 or maybe AP ID number 1. Okay, it's up to you. And then remember, this AP you want to put into which group. So this AP ID number 0, I'm going to put them into the group number 1. Okay, same to the other one. This is a second AP. I give the ID number 1. I also insert to the AP group number 1. So create a security profile. Okay, now we already have almost everything already. So now we have to configure the authentication for the access user. So on the WLAN view, put the security dash profile. Name with the name that you want. Can be any name. Okay, because right now in this exercise, it doesn't require us to do any authentication. So after we create the profile, you can just quit. Okay, unless you want to set a password. Okay, now we create a security profile. It's already done. Then the next, we create the SSID profile. So what is the SSID profile that you want to create? Remember, this one is just a profile name. It's not the SSID. Alright, so you just give any random name that you want. Of course, you can use the name of the SSID. Alright, so now you already enter the profile here. Put the command SSID space. Then what is the name you want to show to all the access user? If I'm using the mobile phone or I'm using a laptop to connect to your Wi-Fi, so what is the name they want to show me? So you can put right here. And then quit. Then you can create another SSID if you want, just using this command. Okay, now we already done the configuration for SSID. Then the next one, create a VAP profile, stand for the virtual AP. So this one is just a template, because all the AP we currently connected is without any configuration, so we try to create a template on our controller. So later on we can push to all the AP, okay, using the commit. So now I put VAP-profile, name Huawei number 1. So this is my first template. So in this template, I configure the forwarding mode is called direct forwarding. And the service VLAN is using the WLAN 101. Security, I'm using the security profile just I configure, security-1. So mean this is no authentication at all. And then what is the SSID? Don't forget to put this. Okay, my SSID profile just now is Huawei-1. So for those who connected to this Huawei 1 SSID, then he will automatically attach to the WLAN 101. And there's no authentication. He can go direct to the internet without returning back to the controller. Okay, so you can using the same method doing on the second VAP. Bind the VAP profile to the AP group. So return back to your WLAN view. Put the command AP-group name. Then the name just now you configure. Okay, my name here is AP-group 1. So remember what's a VIP profile just now you configure. Okay, VIP profile Huawei-1. So this one is my first SSID. I put WLAN 1 and radio all. Okay, the radio all mean including the 2.4 and the 5 GHz frequency band. So I'm going to broadcast this SSID in the 2 different frequency band. Okay, once you've done all the binding, now you can quit. Okay. So this is all the configuration with using the CLI.